So guys, if you're a fan of the NFL, I'm pretty sure you're aware of the situation going on in Dallas. Micah Parsons is going to be traded. Him and Jerry Jones' relationship is soured. They've been taking shots at each other for what seems like the last few months. And that got us thinking, what is Micah Parsons' trade value? And doing all that, it kind of made us think, let's just make a list of the top 75 players in terms of trade value. Before we get into the list, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, like this video, leave a comment down below on your thoughts about our list. But anyway, let's just get into it. While we were crafting this list, ESPN released an article that honestly is kind of a cop-out. They don't do a list. And it's funny because we made the video 3 years ago about this exact topic. I'm going to link the old video down if you guys want to check it out, but it's a little rough. And, you know, we've learned a lot just from doing that list, from our years of doing YouTube. And this list right here, we ironed it out. We kind of streamlined the process of it. So just to go over a few things before we get into the list. It's a trade value list, everybody. It's not about who the 75 best players are. That's a completely different topic. We take a lot of things into consideration when making this list. We take age, positional value, talent, contract, how many years left they have on their contract. And there's two golden rules. First, no rookies. You've had to play in the NFL before. So no Travis Hunter, no Shador, no Cam Ward, nobody. And the second is it's not just about one team's willing to trade for you, right? Like, let's use Trent Williams as an example. He's a great player, but he's 37 years old. While there might be a team like Pittsburgh that wants to trade for him because they're trying to make that late title run and they're willing to trade a second, other teams aren't going to do that, like the Titans. The Titans are rebuilding. They're not going to want to waste a second-round pick on a guy who's going to play for them for half a year and they're going to win 2 games. It just doesn't make sense. We basically try to say, if over half the league would pay this, that's their value. So we're going to show you the first tier. And guys, I really want you to focus on the tier itself rather than the order of the guys in the tier. I agree. If you want to move the guys in the tier around, no problem. But what we're really shooting for is the right tier, like the right guys in the right value. And let's just pretend like anyone can be traded anytime. A year ago, nobody in their right mind would think Luka Doncic will get traded to the Lakers, and yet here we are. So we're just going to pretend like the Chiefs one day could trade Patrick Mahomes for 7 first-round picks or whatever it is. This is the creme de la creme of players, obviously headlined by Patrick Mahomes. I think this one's pretty clear-cut. He's the best quarterback in the league. I know he's coming off a Super Bowl loss that was pretty bad, but he's got 3 titles to his name. He's 30 years old. And the one thing he has that nobody else is on the list, he's got the Brady-like air, oh, we can win any game at any time. That's what makes him the most valuable player. I don't really care about the contracts in this tier as much because all these guys are going to be paid. And guys, CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels, they're not as established as Herbert or Burrow or Lamar. They're really good. They're really cheap. They're making pennies on the dollar. But I just want to see them establish themselves a little bit more before I'm ready to put them into the top 2 or top 3. Because look, we know rookie contracts are the most important thing in sports to build your team around. But I just don't know if these guys, after playing only a year or 2, you can call them a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes yet. And if you're really big on the rookie contract and you just want to throw them on 1 and 2 like we did in our old video with Herbert, I get it. No problem. But let's just agree, they're in the same tier. And just to round out this tier, you might be surprised to see Penei Sewell. Well, first off, he's the best tackle in football. He's 25. And just to give you a little bit of evidence what tackles go for, Laramie Tunsil, who was a good tackle in Miami, got traded to Houston for 2 first-round picks. He was nowhere near the player Penei Sewell was. You might have 8 more years of Penei Sewell being the best tackle in football. And it's not like we can go, oh, let's a trade that's similar. Nobody of this caliber has ever been traded in the NFL. There's not even a baseline. These guys don't get traded, ever. With that tier done, we're going to move to the next. We have players 9 through 30. And the one cool thing about this tier is we have an example of what a player in this tier would get traded for. And it's perfect because we can talk about Micah Parsons. To get him is going to take a Khalil Mack type of trade package. And it's not just 2 first-round picks, guys. It's 2 first-round picks and the contract. And the contract is going to be record-breaking. It's going to be, hey, Micah, you're the highest-paid edge in history. That's a lot to give up to a player because you're committing long-term cap to one guy. And right behind Micah, we have Max Crosby and Nick Bosa. They're the 2 like premier edges other than Micah. Obviously, Micah's 2 years younger. That's why we have him slightly ahead of him. And just to round off the edges in this tier, I want to talk about Will Anderson, Jared Verse, and Aiden Hutchinson. Will and Jared are a weird case because they're so young. They're on cheap deals. And while Will was Rookie of the Year, I didn't see him take the leap from really good to like elite. He was just really good, even as a second-year player. He suffers from what I call Chase Young syndrome. When Chase Young was a rookie, we had him at number 10. But we kind of, and I want to hit this group of wide receivers right here, and I want to hit Brock Bowers and Kyle Hamilton. And you're going to see Malik Nabers is ahead of established guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and think, well, why is Will Anderson not higher? Well, in my opinion, I just think Malik Nabers is at a different level than Will Anderson. He is the next coming of the great wide receiver. He's young. He's 22 years old. He's making pennies on the dollar. And I mean, his quarterbacks last year were Daniel Jones for like 6 games and then Tommy DeVito, and he was still doing what he was doing. It's unbelievable. And wide receivers just translate better than edges, guys. I'm sorry. And Brian Thomas, I just don't feel the same about him as I do Malik. I know he's going to be good. I'm just not sure he's going to be better than Justin and Jamar, where I can kind of see Nabers being better than both those guys. And guys, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this is why they're in the same tier. If you want to change the order, be my guest, okay? So next, I want to talk about 2 guys playing non-premium positions, Brock Bowers and Kyle Hamilton. No tight end as a rookie did what Brock Bowers did. He was transcendent at the position. You know, we get guys like Kyle Pitts who are supposed to redo the record book, but no, it was Brock Bowers. And he honestly plays more like a receiver. And go ask the Seahawks if they traded that for Jamal Adams. And I know that didn't work out, but I think Kyle Hamilton's a hell of a player and much better than Jamal Adams ever was. And lastly, you guys might notice we only have one quarterback in this tier, and it's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a really tough guy to rank because there's going to be that whole school of people that think it's way too low, and we're going to have people who think it's way too high. So we kind of just middled it out, and he's coming off a Super Bowl MVP, but we understand it was on a loaded team. The Eagles destroyed the Chiefs. It wasn't just the Jalen Hurts show. So we're just going to kind of put him in the middle. Or is he kind of just a system quarterback? We're going to find out. All right, guys, that wraps up that tier where it's basically the Khalil Mack trade package, and we're going to move to the next tier. We got 31 through 52, and the guys I want to talk about right away are the rookie quarterbacks, plus Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield. I had such a fight with Juan trying to rank these guys. Caleb Williams was really tough to rank. I hated it. I wanted to have him way lower. We fought about it, but at the end of the day, he's really valuable. Like, we know he had a good year last year and it wasn't great, but there's just so much unknown with him. There's so much talent. Like, I still kind of believe he could be the next Mahomes. He's that good. And there was a part of us that wanted to leave him, Bo Nix, Drake May, Marvin Harrison, all these guys off the list, but we just couldn't. They're really valuable. There's a reason Ben Johnson left his job to go to the in-division rival of the Bears. He wants Caleb Williams. Teams would pick up the phone and trade for Caleb Williams, even coming off a good but slightly disappointing year. And Drake May, he was really good. He just only played 6 or 7 games. We didn't get to see a whole lot of him. But there's a reason the Patriots got Mike Vrabel and cut ties with Gerard Mayo. They believe he's going to be the guy to unlock Drake May and get him going in the right direction and lead that franchise back to the promised land. The other 2 guys, Jordan Love and Baker, are a little bit different. Baker's 30. He's already been through the ringer, but he's a really good quarterback. He's probably the most underrated quarterback now. He's not on a bad contract, and teams would line up to trade for him. Jordan Love is tough. I want to keep on the theme of second and third year guys, so let's go to Marvin Harrison. He's kind of like the Caleb Williams of receivers. He was the chosen one. He was supposed to be Malik Nabers as a rookie, and he was slightly disappointing. But you know what? Next year, if he just has a freakish type year, he can move all the way up to the Malik Nabers tier, and it wouldn't shock me. There's just so much unknown with him. And it's the same thing for JSN, and it's the same thing for Ladd McConkey. They could either shoot up the list or they could shoot down the list. JSN was good for 7 games, but now he has to be the alpha dog without DK and Tyler Lockett. Ladd McConkey, are you going to win on the outside, or are you just going to be a slot demon your whole career? We kind of have to wait and see with those guys. Now, Brian Branch is a little bit different. He only suffers from positional value, but he is a poor man's Kyle Hamilton. That's why we have him so high on the list. He's got 2 more years cheap. You're going to have to pay him, but we love Brian Branch. Now we're going to get to the end of the quarterbacks of this tier, but before that, let's get to the edge rushers. And guys, this is where it's a trade value list. It's not who's the best player, because these 2 are the 2 best edges in football. Easy, no argument, but their trade value is lower than the other guys, and it has a lot to do with contract, age, and injuries. Most teams are not going to trade 2 first-round picks for either of these guys. They don't have that many years left. No disrespect, but how many edge rushers are good when they're 33, 34, making this type of money? It just doesn't happen. And to go back to the quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence still has trade value, guys. I know he's overpaid. I know he hasn't proven it. but the talent he has, he's like Caleb Williams. There's so much raw, untapped talent that if Liam Cohen can just get 80% out, he'll be a top 5 quarterback. And I think a lot of coaches would think that about Trevor Lawrence. Kyle Shanahan would think, oh, if I get this guy with all that talent, I can make him good. And it's really tough with these quarterbacks because Jared Goff's 31. He's making a ton of money. And I think there's a lot of people that think Ben Johnson going to resurrect Jared Goff's career. He's kind of a product of the system. Kyler Murray, he's been underwhelming even though he's talented. And I don't think he has the talent of other guys. Brock Purdy, he's been a system quarterback, kind of been surrounded by good players. Matthew Stafford, he's really good, but he's 37 years old. A lot of miles, a lot of injuries. And Dak Prescott, the most overpaid player in the league. A guy who's good, not great, but he gets banged up and he just hasn't done enough yet. And like we said earlier, it's not just about will one team trade 2 first-round picks for you? It's about what will a majority of teams trade for you? So everyone in this tier is a first-round pick minimum. It's just about that second piece you're going to get in the trade. It's just a variable. Some guys might get you a conditional second that turns into a first. Some guys might just get you a 3rd round pick or even a 4th round pick. It's just really a case by case with these players. And guys, that brings us to our last tier. We got 53 through 75. We're not really going to go into many of the players in this tier, but it's basically a lot of young players at a lot of premium positions, and it's a little bit older guys who are elite at not premium positions. As an example, Xavier McKinney, Creed Humphrey, really good players. They just don't play premium positions like guys like Tyler Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, Charles Cross, Zach Tom, just to name a few. Everyone in this part, if you want to argue with me, Nick Bonito should be 53, okay, I'm not going to argue with you, but you would agree. All these guys are a 1st round pick and maybe a 4th, 5th, or 6th as it stands right now. And I mean, we just drew the number at 75, so obviously there's going to be some guys you're going to argue with us about, and we get that. But it gets really hairy towards that 60 to 75 range, where I'm not going to be mad at you if you say somebody we didn't have. All these guys are worth roughly the same, and there's plenty of guys that we left off worth about the same as these guys. It's really just trying to figure out who has the biggest market of teams willing to trade for them. It's tough. It's really tough with this last year. And so, guys, that wraps up the top 75 trade value list that we came up with. And we know you're going to have some disagreements. We get it. There's going to be some players we forgot or didn't really think too highly of that you do. And I get that. Like I said, it's a tough thing to come up with. We spent a couple months working on this before we put it out. And we understand. But again, we appreciate any feedback you guys have. Comment down below your thoughts. Let's try to keep it to the tiers. I'm not going to argue with you about who's 42, who's 43. I'm not going to argue with you. But if you think a guy like Ladd McConkey should be way down in that tier 53 through 75, I'll listen to you. I want to hear about that. And again, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys.